Shalom and good day, this is Tehillim29 back again for another anime review, and in this anime review I'll be covering Season 1 of Tonikawa Over the Moon. It's also known as Fly Me to the Moon in the manga format, which is in English, and I must admit I have been reading the manga and also finally catching up with the animated series, and I'm really surprised with how well they've actually done this animated series. So we'll move into the episodes, to which there are 13 episodes, or 13 to 14 episodes in the first season. And the first episode addresses the marriage of Nasa Yuzaki, and we get to learn about him and how the situation came to be between him and Tsukasa. And it's really nice, as this is sort of like used as the backstory as to how this story moves forward from the events that occurred, to which he ends up being, of course, being hit by a truck-kun, survives a hit by a truck-kun. And with the help of Tsukasa, she also, in a way, helps him get off to hospital. Moving into the future, we realize that some time has gone past since he first met her, and this is where the second episode comes in, and we have the first night, to which Nasa and Tsukasa have basically submitted their marriage details and now are working together in their own home, which is quite a small flat. And of course, with that, he has to get some things for her because he didn't quite consider her to turn up when she did. As things continue to the third episode, we end up meeting up with one of the sisters, which are connected to basically a spa bar, or a bath of sorts, or a public bath. And even one of the sisters there sort of like shares some jealousy because she wanted to be the one first to marry Nasa, but in turn she also has a sister that's sort of like more understanding than her. Jumping to the fourth episode, one of the sisters, of course, who is Chitose, also calls on Nasa, and we get to see a little bit more happen between them in the story. By the time we move on to episode 5, Nasa has now made the decision to get a ring for both his wife and himself. But you got to take note that before he even caught up with the person that is with his wife, he made sure to sort of like get into a job first and at least have some form of substantial income before the wife turned up, or the wife to be turned up. And that I really appreciate in the story, and you get to see that play out really well. Another thing that this story also does too is it makes sure to show both sides of what people are thinking and showing, including some of the outside people, and share how they view the situation. So in that, I really appreciate the story. As we move into episode 6, there's news of them being newlyweds, and of course, with them getting married, they start to prepare a trip to see Nasa-kun's parents, to which we move into episode 7, 8. And when we get to episode 8, we get to enjoy a really nice episode, to which we get to see Nasa's parents also thanking Tsukasa, who they have learnt is now the wife of Nasa now. And they get to learn it, and she also gets to learn a little bit more about her husband. And that is really nice, really enjoyable. there's nothing really negative about this series that I could sort of put up, because I'm really surprised with how much they've gone into depth with this anime, even with the manga in relation to this series. And I think what they've done in showing both is also open it up a little bit too, maybe in some areas that haven't been quite addressed yet, but might be addressed in the next season. But that's absolutely fine. So moving into episode 9 and 10, we start to look into the daily life between them both, and there's also some things that they do along the way, like in regards to the trip. They also buy a camera, and you also learn that Nasa-kun has already like a safety deposit box at a bank with certain things set aside should anything happen. And in the process, you do actually learn that there is a bad thing that happens along the way in the story, but with the help of his friends, they are able to provide a place of, I guess, refuge, sanctuary for him. And they sort of link to the very first person that you meet at the beginning of the series. And I really enjoy that, because that is also shown in the manga too. So as we jump towards the last couple of episodes, I won't be covering episode 13. I'll let you go and enjoy that by yourself, as I'll probably be going to enjoy episode 13 after I finish this review. And also after I put up the rating and such. So in episodes 11, 12, and what we get 12.5 with the flashbacks, we have a event occur to which Nasa and Tsukasa ends up doing something to which they could sort of like get to know the friends a little bit more, and basically for Tsukasa to get to know his friends a little bit more. And of course they have some events like some board games and other things, and that occurs. And eventually we move towards the end, to which we end up having them sort of like returning to the hospital, to where events sort of like led to. And of course from there, it really sets into the flashbacks of sort of like every nice thing that has happened within the story. And so now it's time to move into the rating. So jumping into the area of the main characters, I would have to give an 8 out of 10 for the main characters. For the supporting characters, also an 8 out of 10. Jumping into the area of the animation, I must admit I really enjoy the animation for this series, and I'm looking forward to moving into the second season, as the second season does have 2 more additional episodes which show a bit of a flashback in regards to, say, some of the schooling years, to which we get to see with Nasa-kun. So for the animation, I'll have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it moves to the best thing, and that is the area of the story, to which I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day. And if you have happened to watch this series, what were your thoughts in it, positive or negative, in the comments? Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.